Hi, I'm Bonnie Curry, another episode of From the Couch. This is my friend Jordan Feliz. He is this amazing singer-songwriter and hat wearer. This is a fantastic hat you have on today.
Thank you.
I feel like the whole conversation needs to be about the hat because it really could occupy its own presence. We could put it in the middle of the couch and just let it do its thing.
If you want to do that, we can.
I don't think people would really stick around for that because we're about to get very serious with some questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Here's my serious question. Tell me about your sweet baby boy.
Yes. Yeah, well, his name is Judah.
Mm-hmm.
He is 5 weeks old, about almost 5.5 weeks, I guess now, which is kind of weird to even think about.
Right.
But yeah, he's doing so good. He's completely like the polar opposite of our little girl who came first, which has been amazing because she was a really, really hard baby, like super tough.
So how was she a hard baby?
Well, she had like colic for about a year.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
That was super rough.
That's rough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parents that are watching that are going to go, oh, that was just, I'm not saying a nightmare, but I'm not saying that it's not, because
it's a little bit of a nightmare.
It is a little bit of a nightmare. How did you guys get through that? I mean, like, what is the support you guys offered each other through that time? Because I know that when you're sleep deprived, you're already on edge a lot.
Yes.
But then you add the pretty constant state of a crying baby, and it's a sound that starts at your ears, it travels down your spine, and it goes all the way down to your feet to where you're just like, yeah.
It's so true.
How did you guys support each other?
I think we just continued to affirm each other that we're doing a good job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think my wife kind of took it as though, like, I'm not doing something well enough, like, as a mom. And we just would continue, you know, and I would continue, honestly, because I was touring so much the year she was born. So
so she was doing this by herself.
Yeah, a lot of the time. But affirmation was a big key, I think, in being successful in it, but also patience, like just learning to be patient. You know, you learn it, you know, when people ask me, like, what's the first thing you learned, you know, whenever you have a kid, you know, what's that first initial thing? And I always say the first thing you do is you learn that you could never love something like that.
It's in your DNA.
Yes.
It's an overwhelming,
like embedded
I will do everything for this creature.
Literally everything.
Yes.
But the second thing is always patience. Because you just realize how, like, selfish you are with your time and with, like, what you want in your life. And it's just not about you anymore, you know? And it's just kind of crazy. But with that, that's why Judah has been so much easier than Jolie, our little girl. He's been doing so good. He's been sleeping in pretty big chunks at night.
It's so funny that is what you consider like he's sleeping for chunks of time. And sadly, I'm going to say that for them, a chunk of time is probably what, 4 hours?
Yeah.
That is the craziness of being a brand new parent with a newborn, is that you consider 4 hours a chunk of time. For most people, I get a little cranky if I get 5 hours of sleep. Like, I feel really off my game. 6 hours is about normal. 7 hours is bliss. I just think, wow, I have a friend that if she doesn't get 8+ hours, she doesn't even go to work. 4 hours is a chunk of time for you.
It is.
That's a blessing.
Right now, it's a blessing.
You're like,
it's a blessing. And he, he's been doing really good. He's like the most chill baby, and he's also very, like, he's so simple. Like, with our
dude, he's 5 weeks old. They're not running around. So, I mean,
but it felt like with our first, it was like we're like running around the house trying to find stuff to like appease her and get her to stop crying. And it's like this, try this. Whereas with him, it's like literally like 3 things. It's like, I'm hungry, I'm tired, or I have a dirty diaper.
Right. And you're like,
so it's like we can kind of diffuse it so easily. So I'm super grateful.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe that he's here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I feel like we've been talking about it for the last 9 months, and now he's here, and
Yeah, you've been cooking him for a while, and then all of a sudden they make the appearance.
Yeah.
And I hear chuckles on the set right now because I said we are cooking them. But we kind of are. I mean, it's a good recipe. And so when it actually finally comes out, you're like, oh, it's here. And wow, he's amazing. And and now he's super chill.
He is. Yeah. He's super chill, and we're just so in love with him. We love him so much.
I can tell. You get this smile on your face. I have a theory, and raising my daughters, they're 13 months apart, so super close in age, and
so much,
so close. And I remember thinking to myself that when one of them would go through whatever interesting period of time they would go through in their lives, the other one would somehow seem to chill. You know what I mean? It was like I think God knows that parents can only really take so much.
Yes.
And that God just kind of goes, okay, look, I'm going to challenge you with some things in your life.
Yeah.
Learning some patience, obviously. Totally. Learning 100%. To communicate and lift each other up. But I'm also going to give you this little boy so you guys can take a small breather,
A little bit of a breather.
I think God really does. People say, that God won't give you things that you can't handle. But I do think it has to do with every part of our life.
Yeah.
And knowing that he's kind of given you this little break with your son, I think that's how God works in our lives.
And I can't agree more. I really
I'm glad, because you're on the couch with me and you should agree.
I mean, yeah.
That is part of being, with me during this. Is you? Did you not get that card that said you must agree with everything Bonnie says? Yes.
Everything that Bonnie says, just say yes.
Just say yes. It works out really well that way.
But really, I seriously can't agree more. I really think that is something, and I also feel like that's why kids are so different. Like each one is so different, because I also think it's just you're going to learn so much from each one.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're just in the starting of the learning phase with him.
Oh, sure.
And, I know that, he's just going to be a bundle of energy pretty soon. So that's going to be really, really fun. But I'm also excited for it. Like,
of course.
As a dad, you're like, you like my little girl, like she's just, oh my gosh, she melts me.
Yeah.
But with little boy, I'm like, man, I can't wait for like Nerf fights and Legos. And
Legos are the best.
Yes.
I love Legos. I think sometimes watching little kids grow up, you keep looking forward to doing things with them when they can, because you remember loving that when you were a kid.
Yes.
You go, Legos. And Legos are awesome. And all those things that you do in your life that you look forward to. So in looking at some of the challenges that you feel like, okay, God kind of prepped me for this. Have you ever faced a challenge in your life that you felt like there's no way I can handle this? And somehow you did. Something like that happened here. Well, share it.
Yeah, 100%. It actually is kind of this past year. 2017 was just one of those. It wasn't like, I say this, it sounds a lot more like morbid, but I call it like one of the dark years for me.
Okay.
Like it's just like, I think it was just because I was coming off a year of touring more than I'd ever toured in my life.
Yeah.
And then I was also trying to write for a second record, and like there was just so much going on, and
a lot of pressure.
So much pressure, and I continued to feel like kind of the misconception of God has given me this, so now I have to take it in my own strength, and I have to do everything for it.
Right.
And I also, you have certain people that walk in and out of your life, and certain people that say things that maybe they didn't necessarily mean it that way, but sometimes things can come out and you're like, oh man, and I kind of had this whole thing made up that if I didn't just crush like this next thing, this next chapter, this next record, this next, whatever the next radio single is going to be, whatever the next, that my career was just over.
Wow.
Like it was just done.
That's like, a lot of pressure to face.
Yes. And I don't know why, I had this thing in my mind that like that was how it was going to work.
Right.
And so I just, for the first time ever, like, I like to think I'm a pretty chill guy. Like, I don't really have like...
You wear that hat. There's no other choice.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a chill hat.
It's a real chill
it really
hat.
is. calm down. I'm wearing this hat today.
And I'd never dealt with anxiety ever. And I think it's just because I just really didn't have much to be anxious about. I've always kind of had like an excitement and a joy in life and stuff. But
so let me get this straight for a second. So you're human.
Yes.
Wow.
I am a human.
Wow. So you faced a lot of stress.
Yes.
Put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yes.
And you found yourself being anxious and not feeling okay.
Yes.
Holy smokes, you're a human being, Jordan
I am.
Feliz. You
I
are.
am.
And so many people have that happen. So
I know.
How did you find the strength and what did you do to get beyond it?
For me, the thing that I had to get to do and kind of get my head wrapped around was I had to stop saying it verbally and also mentally continually telling myself that like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that we feel like this responsibility that like our family, like the way that our kids act, the way that our, husbands and wives, like all the way our marriage looks, like all this stuff that is only our responsibility. Right. But that is not the way that it's been intended by God. It's been intended for him to be a part of it and sharing it with us. And he wants that from us.
Yes.
And so the moment that I started forgetting about myself a little bit, like, and I mean, it sounds crazy, but it wasn't even like a selfish thing. It was just like this ownership thing of like, I have to do this.
Yes.
The moment that I was like, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Like God can do this.
Yeah.
And I can release it and I don't have to feel the weight of this situation or of what my record looks like or what, radio, what my career looks like, what my family looks like, what, what my kids growing up without me there all the time looks like. I don't have to carry the full weight of that. Like I can literally say, Lord, like I need strength so that when I'm home, I'm there tenfold. So my kids feel like I'm there all the time. Yeah. And I want, provision from all aspects of life, even if it doesn't look like, even if this record isn't what everybody thinks it should be, or if it is what everybody thinks it should be, like that you just pour over it in the way that you think it should be, like, and being content with that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what it took for me to like get through it. And I feel like I've learned a lot through it as well.
Sounds like it.
And I also just feel a lot healthier, like to not feel like I have to.
It's not so heavy here.
Yes. Yeah. It's been a really incredible journey. And obviously I still feel like I'm kind of still walking out of it at some moments,
It's never going to be perfect.
Yes.
We can't expect it to be. Totally. And like, there is a single mom that I know that last year, it was around Mother's Day. Her daughter is 17 years old, and I had her in the studio with me. And her daughter called in to just kind of say some stuff about her mom. And bear in mind, she's worked a lot. She actually has a job that travels a lot. And so she's really had to do her very best to find that balance in her life of was she there enough for her daughter?
Totally.
And her daughter called in, and all she talked about was the time that she had spent with her mom, how special her mother had always made her feel, that she just went on and on and on about how important and how much her mom had shaped the person that she is. And as my friend is sitting there with tears, I mean, she is unable to speak. She could not believe that her daughter's thoughts and memories of her mom were not all the trips that she was gone. It was what she did when she was there. And it was such a powerful moment for me, and I'm hoping for everybody that was listening to realize that we are so drawn to pulling ourselves down and finding all that fault with everything that we do in our lives. And part of your job is to be on the road. Part of your job is to minister to people who are listening right now, because right now, your wife and your 2 kids are not here with us. Yeah. You're sadly stuck on the couch with me. And the thing is, though, is all you've talked about is your kids. Yeah. And your sweet wife. And I can tell they're on your heart and on your mind.
All the time.
I know they feel that. I know they know that. Yeah. And so what would you say to a parent or anybody listening right now that would be tearing themselves down kind of the way you were, going, I'm not enough, I'm not doing this right, what would you say to them?
I would literally tell you that you need to release it.
Let it go.
Like, really.
It's that song from Frozen.
Let it go. Oh my gosh, if I hear that. Watch that movie like.
Do you know 15, it by heart?
Oh man, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is peace to letting it go.
Well, and one of the healthiest things to do, and it's so funny, like, this sounds so weird because it's like a older worship song, but it's been resonating in my heart lately. But the "We fall down, we lay our crowns at the feet of Jesus." Like,
yeah.
When we lay down our stuff at the feet of Jesus, when we lay it down at the cross, like, that is when we really find what freedom looks like.
Yeah.
Like, we don't actually know, and we never will know what real freedom looks like until we get to heaven, because that is when we are eternally free.
Right.
But here, the easiest way to find it and to find that peace that you're looking for, it's literally to just lay it down, man. Lay everything out and just say, this is something I cannot do on my own, and I can't do it with my family. We can't even do it as a group. You know what I mean? There are a lot of things that, I use it in the analogy in business a lot too, of just like, a company can only do so much as well. Like, there are a lot of things people have to outsource, because no matter, you could have 100,000 employees, and some of these huge companies, they still have to outsource because they can't get everything done. Right. It's the same thing with our lives, man. But we have the ultimate provider, the Father that can do everything. Right. And
I love that. I love asking God to outsource your life.
Like, literally. I mean,
that's awesome.
That's literally what you're, basically doing.
That's fantastic. I like things that really can make sense in your head.
Yes.
I love that. So if you're carrying a lot of stuff, trying to do everything on your own, listen to my very good friend Jordan Feliz and consider praying and allowing God to outsource all those burdens in your life. Just lay them down and say, hey, you seem like you've got IT under control in a big way. Let's let God outsource some of the things that you're carrying around today. Jordan Feliz, you're a clever guy.
Hey, thanks. I'm trying to be. I'm trying.
You're like, I don't think you could help it with that hat. I think it's the clever hat.
I think if I took it off right now,
you would just be like, I have no answers for you today.
I actually can't.
The source of his power is the hat. It's the hat. That is another episode of From the Couch with my friend Jordan Feliz and his hat. I'm Bonnie Curry. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, guys.